issues that they see come from people hanging out in this dynamic. I talked to my doctor colleagues, and like I said, they were able to say, this goes in this category, this goes in that category. This field, this dynamic field is not real. The presence of God is real. Love is real. Light is real. But there's enough of us on this planet that invest in the belief system of right and wrong making that it can be a really nasty place to be in. And I decided to do an experiment the last time that I was made wrong. And despite the fact that I'd worked with an energy doctor for years who had warned me, Bonnie, don't you ever go back to that field again. I know you're a detective, but stay out. I don't care what you're thinking. Don't ever go. It can kill you, he told me. He said, don't go back in there. And so I was on the precipice one day, and I was like, I'm so close to really getting this. I'm so close. Should I dive in? Should I not? Should I dive in? Should I not? And I went. And I went in with the whole community praying for me so I could step in and learn. And it took me almost a month to get out of the energy of that and to be healed. And it cost me about $10,000 in body work, prayer work, going to the doctor's therapy. It took a lot to have me leave this field that I was so entrenched in to study. So what I'm going to share now is how when we're in it, we can, through spiritual practice, leave it, and then how we can live from a place other than that. How does that sound? Okay, fantastic. So the first thing that I shared with you is that if you find yourself contaminated by or in or around this field of right and wrong making, the first thing you should do is tend to your body. This is a great place here with all kinds of healers. Get yourself body support. Your temple has been impacted by this field. It's worthy of rejuvenating, regenerating, tending to your body. So that's one high recommendation that I have. The second recommendation that I have is that we have so much power within us through choice, is that choose, you're going to leave it. So tend to your body and choose, I am going to leave this field of right and wrong making and step back into the kingdom of oneness, which I know that I live, move, and have my being in. Pray for your enemies. Now this is the deal. The only enemies that exist are your thoughts. So what we're really doing is we're praying for our thoughts. We're praying to transmute our thoughts from believing that something or someone is other than we are. So it's prayer that way. Tend to your body. Oh, this is so good. I, back in 2004, did a forgiveness tour and traveled the country in Canada teaching forgiveness practices. Forgiveness rocks. And I often have insights deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to really what forgiveness is. And the most recent insight that I've had around forgiveness is that it really is a willingness to be a channel for grace. To me, that's what forgiveness means, is that I am willing to be a channel for grace. So when we're in the field, it's making in our spiritual practice the conscious commitment that, okay, I am now ready to be a channel for grace. Again, when I started, I was talking about the thoughts. When those thoughts start coming up, if we choose to be a channel for grace at that time, we don't activate all that other stuff, right? So we can catch ourselves earlier in the game. And when we do, then we can say from this moment forward, I'm going to be a channel for grace. Imagine if I chose to be a channel for grace with the phlebotomist. Would that not have been beautiful? Would have been amazing. And then refuse to feed the energy in any way. You can even speak out loud to someone who is wanting to engage you in right and wrong thinking and just say, that costs too much, I'm not going there. You know, I'm about love, I'm about wholeness, I'm about something else, I'm not taking that train. And make amends. Make amends to whomever that energy is directed towards, or if you're the receiver, make amends for in any way that your brother or sister may have felt slighted or offended in any way. And then, let's just take a breath there. So that's how we get out of the field. How we live in the field of, or the kingdom of God, how we live there, is that I discovered the first thing I did, which was so powerful, was I changed using the words right and wrong. I just decided, I'm a writer, I'm creative, and I'm going to use any other word that I could find. And it is so much fun to be able to say, that's not for me, that is for me. I prefer this, I don't prefer that. I like this, I don't like that. This is mine, this isn't mine. And it's a really lovely clarity without blasting anyone outside or internally. This whole dynamic of right and wrong making, friends, we do within our own self. We think we did something wrong, our right side pops up and starts going to the wrong side, and the wrong side pops up and it fights back. So it can be external, but it can also be an internal thing. Okay? So as that starts happening, to choose other words other than right and wrong to use in their place just lightens everything, makes us more conscious, and is very, very fun, I have to say. And to realize that it is the right that starts the whole thing. It is the right, and this was such a big insight to me because I always have thought that the energy of right was good and wrong was bad. And what I came to realize, it's really the right that's the bully in the deal, and the wrong that receives the energy of that bully. So you can't have wrong unless there's a right that started it. Okay, does that make sense? So to know those two come together, and it's like you and I are in the kingdom of oneness, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. Right and wrong happens, and we've evicted ourselves. We prepare ourselves to come back into the space of the oneness. A big aha is to stop complaining. Stop complaining heals about 90% of it. And then the spiritual practice of gratitude, 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 gratitude keeps us living in that space, in that place. Now, what was interesting was I showed up at the doctor's office. And as I showed up at the doctor's office, I came walking in, and my doctor, who is a beloved angel, he is so fantastic. He saw me walking through the door, and he stopped and he looked at me, and he goes, "Oh my God, Bonnie, I am so blessed. You came to see me twice in 1 week." Now, I was all haughty, because, and I said, "Yeah, you want to know why I came to see you twice?" And he said, "I already know why. You came because you need a hug today, and I'm here to give it to you." And he gave me this big, huge hug, and he said, "Now, doesn't that feel good?" And I was like, oh. Which goes back to the truth of all of this. The presence of God, the presence of love, the presence of heaven, light is everywhere present. It is everywhere present. And so within these things that our mind says they should not be a certain way, really is a grace, really is something amazing that we may never know of, or that we may have the privilege to see. But when we enter into the field of right and wrong, we have evicted ourselves from the kingdom, so we won't have the chance to see it. Okay, so I'm about to close in prayer, but before I do, I want to share about an event that's coming up that is so exciting. It's here at the temple. On Saturday, October the 19th, there's going to be a spiritual revival here. And some of my spiritual girlfriends and I were talking on the phone and said, let's come together and dream. Let's do something powerful. What can we do? What can we create together? Where can our love intersect? And we came up with this concept of a spiritual revival where, similar to the old tent revivals, where the intention is to touch the ecstasy of God, that we're going to touch the ecstasy of the God within and share it amongst ourselves and magnify it. And it's going to be this powerful, fun evening of dancing and chanting, spiritual practice. It is going to be beyond the beyond. And on the docket is me, and I won't be teaching, but what I'll be doing is facilitating spiritual practice. And on the docket is Reverend Danielle, who will be doing channeling. And then we have Gino, who's closing out the night, Gino Walker, who is known in the Los Angeles area as being a singer very similar to Larissa in that she transmits this incredible love that just gets all over you. It is so yummy, yummy, yummy to be in her presence. It is amazing. Just being in her presence is sufficient. But she's not going to sing. She's going to actually close the night by grounding us and bringing us deeper into this kingdom of heaven consciousness as we leave. So it's $25. Tickets are for sale here at the bookstore. You can buy them online. Please invite your friends. It's going to be amazing at 7 o'clock on the 19th. And all of this place is just going to be tearing it up. Tearing it up. Are there any questions? Because I talked fast. Are there any questions before I close in prayer? Yes?
Can you elaborate on the fear of being wrong? And I'm more afraid of being wrong than right. And the fear of being wrong, it blocks my expressing.
You elaborated on that beautifully. Sister, you answered it. The fear is just as active as the wrong itself. And I liked to separate out the right and wrong because for me it really helped me see the whole dynamic. But the truth is, it's really the same energy passing itself back and forth. It's a polarity. And so it doesn't really matter which side you're on or how or whatever, but fearing it is just as potent as actually being in it. You know, because it's stopping you from living fully.
Right. And I've been told that I express like I need to be right. But in my mind, it's more I'm afraid of being wrong.
So let's change those words for you. Like play around with how you could use different words. Change out the word fear because that's so commonly used. So find a different word to play with. Play with a different word other than wrong. And then you be your own meta-detective and go under it. And then someday you can come to the campfire and share what you learned. Okay? All right, any other questions?
I'm just going to elaborate. For me personally, when I experience the word wrong, it translates to me as not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. And if we're not worthy enough, we lose out on everything. And so it's that pendulum swing of, we use the word, I need to get back to center. So what does that mean? It means getting out of the polarities, getting back to center, getting out from this swing or out from that swing, getting back to that place of, this is where it feels safe, this is where it feels good, back to center.
And knowing that we always have a choice in a moment to choose to be in that center.
And one of the words that I play with is I apply a sense of humor, and I'll say, oh, I really swung out there, didn't I? and I'll sort of try not to blame myself or criticize myself for getting out of center. I'll just go, whoa, I was way over there. Let me get back to center. And I find humor in my humanity. And so it gets me out of then blaming myself for getting into blame.
Right. It's like, oh, I had a little bump in the road.
Yeah, or shaming yourself for being right, because you could, if you find yourself being arrogant, and then you say, oh, I shouldn't have done it, and you've just done the pendulum swing over here, and you're just, so yeah, find humor in your humanity is one of the ways to get you back to center really quickly, and laugh out loud at yourself, because we're hysterical.
We are hysterical. All right, so we ready to practice by going into that space together?
Yeah.
All right, let's close our eyes. Take some breaths together. And so I begin in God, light, love, presence, whatever word it is that reminds me of the allness that is. And as I begin in this presence, I recognize that it truly is all that is. There is not God and Bonnie. There is God as Bonnie. There is not God or light or love as each of us here in the room today. There is that presence as us. There's one life, one presence, one love, one good, and it embodies itself and makes itself known in, through, and as each one of us. God is, I am. God is, and we are. And so from this place of consciousness of the oneness of God, I speak my word of gratitude this day for being in the presence of my brothers and sisters around that campfire of good, sharing stories of what it is like to be human, of what we have done this day with our energy, with our choice, with our creative power. I give thanks for the opportunity to be in the presence of the presence, from the presence of this divine love, recognizing and seeing it within each one of us, knowing that it is the very life force that we are. It is the very substance of our being. It is the very joy that radiates from within, without. For each one of us lives, moves, and has our beingness in this kingdom, as this kingdom. We are it. We are it. It is in us, and we are in it. There is one. There is one. There is one. And so today, from this United State of consciousness, I speak my word for blessings upon and from each one of us, knowing that we have the power to bless or to curse, and that we choose this day to bless. Giving thanks that there is within our spirit a calling forward of more of us, and I claim that that call is answered. I celebrate this good called God. I celebrate this good called light. I celebrate this good called life. And so as we close our talk time together this day, I close with the recognition that love was present amongst us. And this is fabulous. And so it is. Amen.
Even though it sounded like a little itty-bitty complaint when I said my daughter gave me a cold, I also got to hang out with her all weekend and hug her and kiss her and make her oatmeal this morning. And I got to sit in chairs and be a receiver, which was so nice. So blessings all around. Shall we do some cards? Yeah. Do we want angels, or do we want ascended masters, or do we want goddesses? Angels? We like angels. Ediko's gonna, did you say angels? Yeah, we like angels. We love the angels. Ediko's gonna pass these out. And while Reverend Dr. Bonnie was leading us in prayer, Archangel Gabriel came in and tells me that next Sunday we are going to be bringing in Archangel Gabriel's energy and bringing in the inner healer in all of us. Archangel Gabriel is the one that comes in to do healings. His light is very green and yellow and beautiful. And as you hear me talk each week, and any of those that take any classes that I do or have personal sessions with me, igniting the inner healer inside is what allows us to do things like get out of duality and inter-centered and into the centered space. It's what allows us to start looking at ourselves and seeing our humanity and laughing at it. I once was having a terrible time with a volunteer that worked with us a few years back. And I was walking on the beach, and for about 20 minutes I was having this blasting conversation at her imaginary in front of me. And finally I stopped dead in my tracks and I said, "What is it? What is it that's making me so angry? Show this to me. And as everything that was making me so upset was revealed to me, and I saw the truth of it, as I stood there dead in my tracks, I threw my head up and laughed out loud and recognized the part of me that she was reflecting back to me, that I didn't want that part to be wrong, so I had to make her wrong. Because when we feel like there's a part of us that is that wrong energy, it feels very lonely. It feels very scary. It feels very separate. And so sometimes, instead of trying to make ourselves right, it's easier to make the other person wrong. They're all part of the same illusion. So when we complain, are we making somebody wrong? Complaining about ourselves as well. Did you get one for yourself? Did you do one? Did everybody get one? Oh, yay. Okay, so everybody got a card? Why don't you take this card and just send it some love and some light. Send gratitude to the angel that brought this message to you. You can put both your hands on it, hold it over your heart, and absorb in the beautiful message, the beautiful feeling, the gift from these incredibly generous and highly evolved beings from the angelic realm. And the angels remind me that they themselves, although they are so very highly evolved, also go through their own process with duality. We hear the phrase fallen angels and such. And that even in the angelic realm, their perfection to be completely absolved of the duality is still something that they process themselves. And they remind us that the duality isn't necessarily just an aspect of humanity, but many, many sentient beings all over the galaxy remain to work through this process of completeness and oneness. Holding this message. And they ask me to tell you that although I will certainly do the interpretations for you that I so enjoy doing, that each of you who has this card knows what it means. I know, we look at these cards, we go, oh yeah. I can't think of any time I go, oh, what that's about. That doesn't resonate. We all kind of go, oh yeah, no. Because it's just true, isn't it? It's just true. So would anybody like a little bit more details on their oh yeah moment from their card? I'd be happy to share those with you. Yes.
Divine Order, Archangel Raguel. Is this the same one I got before?
The
Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order.
Oh, was it the same card?
I'm wondering.
It's
It
certainly
seems
the
like
same
it is.
message, isn't it? Okay. So, I mean, you know what this, continue to stay in your process of maintaining both energies, the old and the new. Stay in the place of creating this one while also maintaining the place of creating this one as though that was going to be the one. This is a job transition that we're talking about.
That scale.
And the scale, oh yes, the
Balancing.
and the balancing. And it's about not making one right and one wrong.
Okay.
So a perfect message for today. We oftentimes, when we're leaving a job, we think, I gotta get out of this place, I've got a better job, but isn't that again creating that comparison? So one of the clues that you're doing that out of oneness is when you start making comparisons. Ego compares. Yes.
Archangel Metatron?
Metatron?
Yeah.
One of my faves, yeah.
What is that?
And what's the message?
Oh, it says chakra clearing.
Chakra clearing. Okay. Yeah, for you,
I'm seeing beautifully aligned chakras. And then when we get down to the sacral chakra of creativity, it's kind of expanded horizontal, which when I see a horizontal expansion, it doesn't mean that it's big and beautiful and bright. It actually means it's kind of blocked. And then I'm looking at your base chakra, which is kind of made small. What that tells me is that because of safety and financial and security issues, your creativity is getting blocked. So afraid to create something based on it not being something that will financially support you. So if it's okay with you, permission, and if anybody else wants this, can we just balance those out for you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anybody else that would like their chakras balanced, just say yes.
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 And for you, this message is to get into trust that your creative ideas are financially viable.
Whoa. Thank you.
Whew, geez, well, that was good. Wait. Anybody else? Yeah, Jamie.
Archangel, is it Zadkiel?
Zadkiel.
Zadkiel. And it's clairaudience. And it says, notice the loving guidance we hear inside your mind or from other people.
Okay, so when your clairaudience kicks in, everybody knows that means clear hearing. Do any of you recently, or even in the last couple of years, experience something that feels like a wind tunnel going through your ears? Or sometimes
Bill.
not painful, but a little uncomfortable, piercing kind of tone, and it tends to come in the right ear. You noticing that? Okay, that is the angelic realm.